In Star Wars, we see droids doing the day-to-day functions that actual people would perhaps see as beneath them. However, we also see droids being used in war. But is this actually a good thing? Now, I don't want to focus on the obvious perks of using droids over living people. For example, less life is lost, and droids may be more efficient than normal soldiers. No, I want to focus on the very adverse effects of a droid army. Firstly, it makes war far more complex. In conventional warfare, soldiers can make all the difference. Traditionally, numbers win battles. Of course, technology, finance, and many other factors play important roles, but numbers are often essential. And these soldiers would come from the represented side. Essentially, this means the side with the most supporters, or at least the biggest side, would have a distinct advantage. But not with droids. Droids simply rely on resources. You don't need the support of the people, just a fistful of credit, and companies such as Bactoid Armor Workshop will give you an army. This presents a huge problem, and these soldiers aren't going to be morally challenged. They will carry out the order to the best of their abilities from the one person who owns them. Essentially, this means regardless of the size or backing, anyone with funds can get themselves an army, and the downsides of this are pretty obvious. The key effect in my eyes is that droids would slow the progress of a democratic civilization. This is kind of difficult to explain, so I'm going to use a real world example. The Cuban Revolution marks when Fidel Castro took control of Cuba from the Batista government. Now, Batista was a dictator and is generally regarded as a terrible person, and due to overwhelming support from the Cuban people, Castro was able to win the revolution. However, the Batista government was filthy rich. Now, imagine if the ability to simply purchase a blindly loyal army was possible in this scenario. Support of the people would be worth very little, if anything at all, in a world where the force that's supposed to protect their citizens from exploitation and harm doesn't. They serve the few at the top and removes power from the people and would allow a flawed regime and government to exist long after it should have died out. We see this a lot in the Clone Wars, where the people's will is overturned by the separatist leaders simply because the droids follow their orders and their orders alone. Finally, I want to talk about how droids distance people from conflict. Now, you may be thinking, wait, surely you want people to be less involved with fighting? Well, yes, a lot of lives could be saved by having droids fight as opposed to people. But the problem with this is it removes the biggest cost of war, human life, and therefore makes it far less serious. If 1,000 droids are destroyed in a battle, who cares? I mean, granted, it's expensive to replace and you may lose some territory, but people like the separatist leadership can easily make more.
This is taking too long. Destroy that cruiser.
But sir, there are still hundreds of droids on board.
I don't care.
Roger, roger.
The only actual people who are affected are the people in the immediate vicinity of the fighting. People far away don't have to worry about people they know dying. Essentially, it means people wouldn't care about the war until it was right on their doorstep. Without the loss of life and inability to gather more soldiers for a cause, wars would simply have more and more credits thrown at them until they were either won or didn't have enough credits to continue. Meaning wars would last far longer and would be far more devastating in the long run, as conventional fighting would become obsolete. But what do you think? Honestly, I'm not sure. This is obviously not only applicable to Star Wars, but most sci-fi franchises. I found it a very interesting subject, which initially seems like a straightforward yes they are good answer, but I found it fascinating to look into. Please put your opinions below because I'm really interested to know what you guys think. As well as this, please do like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I really did enjoy making it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.